There are three ways that I have found that work really well to melt the little muscle that rotates the head. The more complicated ways are when the person's face up, and I think it's simpler to do it, or at least to learn it, when the person is face down. You do need a massage table to do this face down technique with a face cradle. By melting, I mean the muscle is going to relax, release some of its tension, maybe even resolve that tension. So that's what you have to look forward to. If any of this anatomy looks confusing, I recommend you look up my other videos called Actions of the OCI. What would happen to this left obliquous inferior if I were to gently roll the person's head away from me? Do you see that? It's getting shorter. The string I'm talking about that gets shorter is the part that goes up to the spinous process of C2. The rest of the string hanging off the front of the table, you're supposed to ignore. I've tied a weight onto it and a weight onto the other side as well, an equal weight, so that as the head rotates one direction, the weight sort of takes up the slack in the string, and you can see the string naturally shortening, as a muscle really would if you were rotating the head this way. It's getting shorter because its insertion on the transverse process of C1 is rotating with the head. C2 is not rotating with the head, so this is getting closer to that. I'll do it again for you. I'll move these other muscles out of the way. This is back in about neutral. This is in about 40 degrees of rotation. So I'd be feeling like the splenius capitis is also in a more shortened position, so it'd be a good time to work on that. But next to that, if you feel along the side of the spinous process of C2, and as I go up and down, I'll go twang, twang, twang over that little muscle right there. Now press into that, kind of push it up against the side of the spinous process. Lighten up on this so the person doesn't feel like you're jamming your head down into the face cradle. I see he's smiling. Wait for melting. I'm pretty sure it's melting. Can I bring the head back to neutral yet? Now bringing him back to neutral is calling on this muscle to get a little bit longer again. If the muscle is still really contracted and guarding, the head will say, no, not yet. So then you go back to a little bit shorter, wait for it to melt some more. And this, I'm doing it really fast. This could take 5 minutes or more. If you sort of lose track of the melting, then just cross it one more time, 2 more times to freshen up that image of the muscle under your thumb. Bring it back to neutral. So this part of the muscle is actually there. Ignore this part. I put some tension on it so that you can see more accurately what the muscle does. So ignore this part.
this part of the muscle is really there. This is the right obliquus capitis inferior. So what I want you to see in this demonstration is what would happen if I roll the head away from me. Can you see this muscle is getting shorter? So now you can see this is where the ear would be. The head is rolled maybe 30 degrees or so. So then I come over here, feel the side of the spinous process, and just kind of press against the side of the spinous process, and I have to be pressing where the obliquus is, and it's in its shortened position. So this should be nice and light over here. Wait for feeling some melting over in this muscle. So melting means it's kind of flattening. And then as it is, I'm going to let the head come back to neutral. And if the brain says, no, I don't want to come back to neutral yet, then you just wait for a little bit longer. Wait for the muscle to melt more. And if the muscle melts enough, then the head is going to want to come back to neutral all by itself. Because other muscles are still tight. This one is less tight. It's going to actually sort of bring the head back this way on its own.